Why does a horse with two masters become skinny? And why does a ship with two captains sink? This ancient wisdom has shaped leadership, warfare, business, and even modern management for centuries. Before we explore the meaning of this proverb, it is worth asking, where did it come from? Surprisingly, no one knows exactly. The saying, "a horse with two masters is always skinny, a ship with two captains sinks," has no identifiable author. It belongs to the tradition of folk wisdom, proverbs that evolved over generations rather than being written by one person. Its ideas, however, are ancient. The first half, "a horse with two masters is always skinny," reflects an old agricultural observation. In farming communities across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, livestock jointly owned or cared for by multiple people often received inconsistent attention. Each owner assumed someone else had fed or watered the animal. As a result, the horse suffered despite having more than one owner. The second half, "a ship with two captains sinks," comes from centuries of maritime experience. Sailors understood that a ship cannot safely operate if conflicting orders are issued during a storm or battle. Navigation demands one final authority. The underlying principle also appears in many ancient traditions. The Bible records the teaching, "No one can serve two masters." Although the context is spiritual rather than organizational, it expresses the same truth. Divided loyalty leads to conflict. The proverb is fundamentally about ownership. People naturally take responsibility when authority is clearly assigned. But when responsibility is shared without clear accountability, something strange happens. Everyone assumes someone else will do the job. Psychologists call this the diffusion of responsibility. It explains why people ignore emergencies in crowds. Teams sometimes perform worse than individuals. Projects stall despite having many managers. More authority does not always create better outcomes. Sometimes it creates less responsibility. Many companies fail because leadership becomes divided. When founders disagree, employees become confused. Which instruction should they follow? The CEOs, the founders, the chairmans, or the investors? Decision-making slows dramatically. Many startups have collapsed because co-founders could never agree on strategy. At the same time, history shows successful businesses usually establish one clear decision-maker. Even when there are multiple executives, final authority rests with one person. Because speed and clarity matter. Every successful organization has one final decision maker. Many people may advise. Many people may debate. Many people may contribute. But when action begins, someone must own the decision. Without final accountability, decisions are delayed. Mistakes multiply. Nobody accepts responsibility. This is why modern management speaks about unity of command. Every employee should know exactly whom they report to. Governments face similar problems. If multiple institutions constantly compete for authority without coordination, policies become inconsistent. One department announces reforms, another delays implementation, a third changes the rules. Citizens become confused. Investors lose confidence. Countries function best when responsibilities are clearly divided while maintaining checks and balances. The challenge is balancing accountability with preventing excessive concentration of power. Coalition governments illustrate both the strengths and risks of shared power. Multiple parties can broaden representation and encourage compromise. However, when partners cannot agree, policies stall, reforms are delayed, governments become unstable. The proverb does not condemn cooperation. It warns against unclear leadership and competing authority. The proverb also applies inside homes. If parents constantly contradict each other while raising children, children receive mixed signals. One parent says yes, the other says no. Eventually, discipline weakens. This doesn't mean one parent should dominate. It means parents should agree privately before presenting decisions together. Consistency builds trust. The military has followed this principle for thousands of years. During battle, there is usually only one commanding officer. Debate happens before the mission. Once the mission begins, orders must be clear. History contains many examples where conflicting commands led to defeat despite having superior resources. Unity of command remains one of the core principles of military strategy. Sometimes the two masters are inside our own minds. One part wants comfort, another wants success. One wants to save money, another wants instant gratification. When our priorities constantly compete, our progress slows. Successful people often simplify their goals. One clear direction, consistent action. Human beings perform better with consistent direction. Conflicting instructions create decision fatigue, anxiety, reduced confidence, lower productivity. People waste mental energy deciding whose instructions to follow instead of focusing on the task itself. History repeatedly demonstrates that civilizations often decline not because they lacked capable leaders, but because multiple centers of power competed with one another. Civil wars, palace intrigues, coalition breakdowns, and succession disputes have destroyed empires. Examples include the decline of the late Roman Empire, where rival emperors weakened centralized authority, the internal conflicts of the Mughal War of Succession, numerous medieval kingdoms divided among rival claimants. The lesson is clear. Power divided without coordination weakens everyone. The proverb should not be misunderstood as an argument against teamwork. Many successful institutions thrive under shared leadership because roles are clearly defined. Examples include airline operations, where the captain and first officer have distinct responsibilities, corporate boards that provide oversight while the CEO manages daily operations, democracies that separate legislative, executive, and judicial powers through checks and balances. The issue is not multiple leaders. The issue is multiple leaders exercising the same authority without coordination. The proverb teaches that success depends not only on talent or resources, but on clarity. An organization with modest resources but unified leadership often outperforms one with abundant resources but divided command. A horse needs one master to ensure it is cared for. A ship needs one captain to navigate storms. A nation needs clear governance. A company needs accountable leadership. A family needs consistency. And every individual needs a clear sense of purpose. The enduring lesson is simple. Consult many, debate openly. But when the moment comes to move forward, ensure there is one clear direction and one accountable leader.